to symptoms of cataracts and their natural treatments. With time, our vision suffers. This is especially true nowadays, since we are so often exposed to bright screens on our computers or cell phones. Contamination also influences how the light from the sun damages our eyes, making it more intense when it hits us. In this article, we'll take a look at a few symptoms of cataracts. Loss of vision does not always occur with the problem of myopia, or hyperopia. On occasion, it is related with cataracts. Although we're going to talk about the symptoms of cataracts, keep in mind that the sensation that appears is similar to that which occurs when we look through concave glass. In any case, we will detail them as we continue. Are you ready? Symptoms of cataracts. 1. Blurry vision. At first, it's hard to realize that you have this problem. This is especially true for those that already have a problem. However, there are situations that can help you to detect it. In general, if you have a vision problem, it affects you when you want to focus on something far or on something close. Because of this, you experience an improvement when you shorten or lengthen the distance. However, cataracts will always be there. Because of this, when you start to see everything blurry, it's probable that you have cataracts. 2. Alteration of your perception of brightness and color. Do you read at night? If you do, you may have noticed that your lamp has a more intense light. On the other hand, it's also possible that you get dazed by car lights. On the contrary, it may be hard for you to distinguish different colors. Suddenly, it's more difficult to recognize colors that belong to the same chromatic range. Both symptoms are indications that you are suffering from cataracts. Natural treatments for cataracts. 1. Eat foods rich in vitamins. Vitamin A is very useful for taking care of your eye health. In fact, it acts directly on the membrane on top of which the eyeball sits. Also, it generates rhodopsin, a substance that helps you to control light more efficiently. Some of the most effective elements are carrots, broccoli, kale, spinach, sweet potato, dairy, melon, apricot, mango, meat, chicken. On the other hand, vitamins B and C are known for treating the lens, which is in charge of focusing with precision. To get the larger contribution of these vitamins, we recommend eggs, clams, octopus, crab, salmon, sardines, citrus fruits, garlic, parsley, red peppers, acerula, guava. 2. Reduce salt consumption. In other articles we've talked about how salt absorbs liquids. This phenomenon also takes place with the mucus that protects your eyes. When you consume excessive amounts of salt, you're more prone to eye injuries. When you have dry eyes, a simple blink constitutes a risk. This occurs because the job of said mucus, among others, is to coat the organ with a protective film. Because of this, by decreasing the amount of this mucus, the eyelid comes in direct contact with our eyeball. This could cause some sort of damage. 3. Controlling the amount of time you spend in the sun. As we pointed out, the light from the sun is dangerous when talking about cataracts. As you may know, you should always avoid excess contact with the sun, since UV rays deteriorate your eyes. However, the advance of the contamination that comes with UV rays are much more aggressive these days than in previous decades. However, this doesn't mean that you should run from them. The best thing to do is to be out in the sun during the hours of the day when the sun is weaker. That way, you can get the necessary vitamins and benefits from them. 4. Look at something you like during the day. Relaxation is very important for treating cataracts. This doesn't mean just closing your eyes. Doing things that you like is also very useful. In this sense, it could be helpful to gaze at a landscape, a painting or a photo that you love. Doing this decreases the tension in your eyes, as well as in the rest of the tissues around it. Freeing yourself from stress is essential for your body, and your optic condition is no exception. Cataracts are very bothersome and can even be debilitating. Because of this, it's good to follow these recommendations, since they constitute a perfect complement for the medical treatment that your doctor prescribes.